Welcome to the Loyal Opposition Podcast. I'm Bernie Flowers, one of Uncle Sam's wayward children. I believe that our country's best days are still in front of us, but if those best days are to come, we need to change the direction of the country now, before it's too late. I intend to talk about important topics every week in hopes of helping to improve our country and our way of life. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let's get started. Our guest for episode 40 is my friend, Ms. Mercedes Moebuis. Ms. Moebuis is a founder and first president of the Republican Club of Carroll County, Maryland. She originally got into politics as a founder of two parent groups in Carroll County, and she's also the past president of the Carroll County Women's Club. She worked on multiple political campaigns on both local and state level, including being the county captain for the 22 Republican nominee for governor in Maryland. Mercedes is a proud wife and mom of two daughters. Mercedes, how are you doing today?
Hey, Bern. How are you?
I'm outstanding. Thank you for joining us today. Everything going your way?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here talking to you today.
Way cool. I got some questions for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All
Shoot.
right, let's do this thing. What was it that originally got you into politics?
Well, I never expected to get into politics. I mean, if you would have told me 5 years ago that I would be where I am now, I would have told you were absolutely insane. So it
Me
was
too.
right. It wasn't anything I had planned. I think that 2020 had a big thing to do with it, with the kids being home and virtual. I wound up giving up a very lucrative career in medical sales to stay home with my kids when they went virtual. And I just started seeing things that concerned me. It made me very worried, not necessarily here in Carroll County, but across the country, and even in the state. There were just some things that were coming up that made me start asking questions. My kids are the most important thing to me. They're my why. They're why I do everything that I do. And so I needed to get involved somehow to figure out what was going on. So I therefore helped start two parent groups in Carroll County. And once I did that, I was invited to be a part of the Republican Women's Club of Carroll County. And then I wound up becoming the president of that. So that's kind of how I got involved in politics.
Totally understand. So it's kind of education and parental rights that kind of gets you going. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. I mean, I started seeing what the teachers' unions were doing, what was going on with the schools, the kids going virtual, how it was impacting them. I was really concerned that I felt like, some subjects weren't even really being taught. As I was watching curriculum, I'm like, wait a minute, why are they skipping over social studies? Like, I saw that with one of my kids, and I'm like, they're really not learning the way they should be. Certain subjects really need to be more hands-on, I guess, like science and whatnot. But I felt like some things were totally being skipped over because of the virtual learning, and that was really concerning me. And then just the rumblings, I guess, going across the nation with certain things that were happening in education that just made me worried. So parental rights is very important to me. We're post-COVID now, but we're not back to normal. I mean, these kids are still having a lot of issues. And then we bring in what's going on with the General Assembly. I mean, look, last session, there were some pretty crazy bills. I mean, when you're trying to put bills in that codify curriculum, that kids have to be taught certain things that many parents did not want in the school system, that's an issue. That's an issue when the lawmakers are trying to codify curriculum. And thankfully that didn't pass. Then you had other bills, for example, the one where they wanted to allow 13-year-olds to make their own medical decisions. I have a big problem with that. I am a parent. These are my kids. And my 13-year-old, and I have a 13-year-old, I don't believe should be making medical decisions for herself without me being a part of that conversation. And so I really felt like the government was starting to overstep their role. and what they should be doing. And I have a big problem with that. Um, I think that most parents still don't have too much of an idea of exactly what is going on in the schools. And I think that they really need to be a little more involved in listening and to see what's going on, whether it's the laws that are going, coming forward in the General Assembly or what's going on in their own school systems. So I think the other thing that perturbs me a little bit is I feel that schools tend to teach to passing standardized tests instead of teaching these kids how to learn, and not just learn, but to absorb it and to understand it. And I think we see that happening. And I think they just had a study that came out about how many kids are failing like basic English skills. And Carroll County was the top in the state, which is great, but that still was like 62%. And I mean, 60% is a D, correct? To
Yeah.
me, that's still not where our kids should be. And the schools and the kids are not back to where they should be from COVID. We had a lot of learning loss. There's a lot of behavioral issues that came out of it. There's a lot of mental health issues that came out of it. We had a lot of teacher shortages that came out of it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really important that we start going back to basics. I mean, and that's really how I feel. We need to be going back to basics. And blueprint is a big concern, a huge concern. I mean, look, the unelected State Board of Education has overstepped their bounds on many things, forcing counties to not even have, they don't even have an input in the budget that has been proposed that these counties need to come up with. And the State Board of Education is stepping in and saying, hey, you've got to fund this. And if you don't, we're going to pull your funding for the county, the state funding. That's a quid pro quo. That's basically saying you do this or we take this. And I think that the State Board of Education, unelected, doesn't have the right to come in and tell counties how to work their budgets. And it impacts all of us because it's not just the funding that is a problem with Blueprint. We are going to have issues with classroom sizes. The classrooms could be, 40, 50 kids. I mean, how is that learning environment for the kids that just came out of learning loss in a bad situation? We have to have more teachers, and we're literally in the middle of a nationwide teacher shortage. Where did it come from? And then third, with the funding, the United States is on a looming recession at the moment. And so we're requiring taxes to go up in a lot of these counties to be able to pay for this. It's just such a burden, I think, on our schools, our county, our parents, and just the constituents here. So I don't know. I feel like we need to give more into local control and I don't know, make it make sense. That's just make it make sense because it doesn't to me.
Well, the truth is it should make sense to the average citizen and taxpayer. And I salute all the things that you're doing because it's common sense. And more people, I think, should think like you. But anyway, let's change gears here a little bit. Tell me about your club.
So the Republican Club of Carroll County, we will have our first anniversary in March. And you were our gracious very first speaker. So thank you so much, Bernie.
Totally honored. Totally.
And so we've really, we've had a great first year. I'm very excited to see how this year is going to shake out, especially because it is an election year. So, and with election year, people do start to get more involved. I like to consider ourselves as being very grassroots, and I wanted to be. We didn't have a county club in Carroll, so I wanted to be kind of a central club where everyone has a voice. So whether you're a registered Republican or you're a conservative-leaning independent, you have a home and you have a voice there. And honestly, our voice is so important. Our vote is our voice. And that is one thing we want to try to get across this year for this election, because it is so important.
So, shifting gears again, got another question for you. Tell us about some of the issues that you see that need to be fixed in our state Republican Party across the entire state.
We need to come together. I mean, period. We need to come together. And I think we need to get a little bit more on the same page when it comes to messaging. Um, and look, the Dems stick together. If you believe that Biden got, 80 million votes, okay. But is he really going to be the nominee? Are they really going to stick together with him this time? They can hate somebody and they still stick with each other.
Yeah, they do.
And we don't do that. I really think the last election in this county showed just how it almost feels like sometimes there's different factions or there's some division going on, and it's sad. We it seems like there's labels, and for example, you're either a rhino or you're a hard right winger, right?
Yeah.
No, we are Republicans. Period.
Period.
We're all Republicans. And Republicans pride themselves on being independent thinkers, right? We
Yeah.
support the Constitution of the United States, and the Constitution, including freedom of speech. Yet it feels like if you are not part of a certain group, your opinion is not as valued, or you're not as supported. And I think we need to stop that. I think the party needs to come together in unity and meet people where they are. Everyone has different opinions. And I think that's something that should be celebrated, not something that says, you don't think like me, so you're not going to be included. And that is so important, especially in today's society, because it feels like that's what's tearing us apart. And if the Republicans keep going after each other and keep infighting, they're going to win. They do
Yeah.
win. And the saying, united we stand, divided we fall. It's true. It is so very true. And
Right.
I would just like to see more unity. Here's an example I've heard, people say before. I've heard it in my own club. If so and so doesn't win, I'm just not going to vote.
Can't have that.
Why? Like, me, I'm very blunt. So let's just talk real right now. Okay. So if your candidate doesn't win and you say you're not going to vote, look, go in the corner, take a minute, and then get yourself right back here and back on track. Because here's the bottom line. Are you happy with what's going on in our country right now? Our borders are open. Our country is on the verge of war. Our economy is in shambles. I cannot get out of the grocery store for less than $200 every time I walk in. Is that what we want more of?
Yeah.
I cannot understand how we would just not go vote. It is very important. Like I said earlier, your vote is your voice. Your vote is you saying enough is enough. We don't want this anymore. We want the right people to be put into office so we can clean up the mess that we've just had for the last, 4 years now?
Amen.
So I think that I just would like to see more people coming together. We need to support each other. We need to get our messaging down. We need to support our candidates. We need to come behind our candidates and give them the resources that they need to succeed and to win and run to win.
Yeah.
Run to win. To win. Because ultimately that is how we fix this. And that I guess comes across as very blunt, but I think it's important, and I think
it's okay to be blunt sometimes.
I think it needs to be said, right?
It needs to be said. Mercedes, you're not going to have any argument from me. You know where we come from. So with that said, it's time for me to be quiet and let you say what's on your mind. Talk to the people. Anything you want to say, the floor is yours.
I think I kind of just did, but
we get excited.
Get involved. Join a club. There's so, in Carroll alone, we have, I think, 4 clubs. Go check them out. Go see which one you feel that you fit in with. We're all here to make a change. And I would just like to see more people get involved. Make sure you're registered to vote. Volunteer. We need volunteers. We need people to help out at the primary. We need people to help out in the general election. We need people to get involved and to fight and to help us get Republicans elected. So, and parents, you know what I said earlier, parents, pay attention. Pay attention to
Yeah.
what,
Huge.
ask your children what is going on.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power. It really is. Knowledge is power. And I really do think that we have the potential to save this country and to be the city, shining city on the hill that we were made to be. And I think we need to get back there. And I think if all of us stand together, look, we don't all have to hold hands and walk together, okay? But we all need to wind up in the same place, and we all need to do the right thing. And I mean, that's pretty much how I feel. Yeah.
I totally get it. So with all that said, how can people reach you if they need to?
So the Republican Club of Carroll County is on Facebook. Our website is carrollgopclub.com, or you can email me at info@carrollgopclub.com.
Way cool. Mercedes, thanks for spending time with me. Your fire is infectious, and I'm glad to know you. You know that.
You, Barn.
With that said, blessings upon you, blessings upon your family, blessings upon everyone. Have a great new year. You take care of yourself now.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Well, that's about it for now. This has been the Loyal Opposition Podcast, produced in association with Liberty Arise Media, Fallback Productions, and other podcasters. I ask that you like, share, and subscribe to this podcast and to this channel. Be sure to get your copy of my book, Black Values Matter, available on Amazon or as an ebook on Audible and on Apple Books. And also, remember, it's okay to disagree, but if we want our country to prosper, we must insist on unity, transparency, and civility from ourselves and our fellow citizens. Thank you for listening to the Loyal Opposition Podcast. See you next week.